Hello, everybody. Welcome to Silent Podcast, a place where everything but silent. I'm your host, Isaiah, and we're back talking about Big Brother Canada, Season 12, Week 3. Back with my people. We got Josie back again. As usual, Josie, how you doing?
I'm good, y'all. Your Digital Dailies recapper is here, ready to spill the tea. To say I'm disappointed would be an understatement, but I'm excited for the POV because Canada has the usual pattern of getting the POV used. So that's where I'm at.
All right, and we also got Katie. Katie, what's up?
Hi, everybody. I'm excited to be here. I haven't been able to make it for the last two, so I'm excited. I'm caught up. I'm ready. I'm enjoying what we've seen this season, so I'm happy to be back talking about it with you guys.
All right. Like I said, usually, if you like what you're hearing, if you're interested in more Big Brother Canada coverage, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Leave a comment in the comment section. Helps with the algorithm. And if you're listening on our audio platforms, 5 stars only. Now, we're here to talk about Week 3. It's safe to say a whole lot's going on since the last time we've been here. We've had a spicy VHOH. We've had one set of noms with a nom replacement. We have a whole lot of stuff going on. But Katie, we haven't talked to you at all this season. How do you feel about everything that's going on in the Big Brother Canada house thus far?
Listen, I feel like Big Brother Canada always gives us something fun and exciting, whether or not we have feeds. Of course, these are the types of seasons where I wish we did have the feeds because it feels like there's just mess going on throughout the entire house. But it's exciting. I mean, I just love how fluid Big Brother Canada games are in comparison to some of the other Big Brother versions. I love that people aren't afraid to make moves and be messy. So I'm having fun. I think a spicy VHOH, especially in week 2, gave us exactly what we were hoping for a spicy VHOH, was just like chaos and mess. So I've had a lot of fun. I don't know, maybe not the best gameplay from Spicy V, but she served us some fun. So that's really all I care about.
Now ultimately, we're going to obviously talk about what's coming into this week, but it's safe to say we don't know how the ramifications of that's going to look like. We have no idea. But we're here to talk about it. So basically, last week we did see Victoria get her HOH. We're unsure what she was going to do at the time, and eventually she came down to the conclusion that she was going to put up Goose, aka Elijah. I don't know which we're going to go with for this podcast, but Elijah, and she puts up Vivek. Now, at the time, Vivek definitely did look like the house consensus. It looked like Vivek was definitely getting ready to pack his bags. He was getting called out on every facet possible. And it was looking spooky for a little bit, but obviously things change. Josie, what was going on in your opinion?
I think a lot was happening, first of all. So once Victoria gets HOH, I think, she was trying to have an easy week. She was saying how Vivek was her target. And when we last were here with Kuzi last week, we were saying this could potentially be a Gino week. You put the nominees on the block. If the POV doesn't get used, then you have an easy week, no blood on the hands, and everyone loves and respects you. And you can then use, well, I had your back. So I think that was what was the plan going into the week. We saw that plan go forward with a lot of planting of seeds, namely from Victoria and Anthony. So Vivek spoke to Anthony in the billiard room, or the trophy room is what they're calling it, sorry. And Vivek points out that he has an East Coast alliance. Now, he clarifies that it was barely a thing, that, it was very superficial. It was day one. And he makes that point very clear to Anthony. I don't know if Anthony did not hear him or he did not care. It was just enough ammo for him to shoot at Vivek, specifically since on his HOH the previous week, he was not feeling comfortable with him. He wanted him to be targeted. And so he went to Victoria and said, ooh, the bird's already singing. The people who are the most uncomfortable are talking about XYZ, and talks about the East Coast Alliance. From there, I think Victoria was a little butthurt that Vivek didn't come and tell her about it. But to be fair, why would he? And so she was like laying in the groundwork to see if people would fess up, namely Donna and Vivek. Both of them did not fess up. And so we see what happens to be East Coast Gate, where Victoria really confronts Vivek, and the conversation in the car is very shortened, but it was a long conversation. Like he didn't know who he was she was talking about. He's like, "What alliance? What alliance? What alliance?" And so she says, like, "Who were you just in the car with?" Which was with Donna. And he goes, "Oh, the East Coast thing." And he clarifies once again to her. It was very brief, very short, nothing of it. It wasn't what you think it would be, and it did not matter. Victoria ran upstairs, and Donna and Vivek had just had a conversation about, not spilling the beans, keeping it amongst themselves, like they're good, because there was rumors coming around that Vivek was spilling tea. And Bailey and Donna knew, which wasn't shown in the show, but it was on the digital dailies. They kind of knew that he was potentially throwing their names out in the East Coast Alliance. And so that's when we see the blow up, which happened on the show.
Yeah, obviously, this was a very interesting move from Victoria. I think, in Spicy V Faction, she does some very spicy. It was crazy because, we are going to see her obviously say something like, I don't know if I should be winning this. This isn't like the best for my game. She does it anyway. You know what I'm saying? And, her like, honestly, if you're watching the fight back from like Bailey and Vivek, she should have got caught here. But I feel like they were just so angry at each other that like they're like, "Hey, I didn't tell her this. She said that you said this. Me too, but I don't care. I'm mad at you." Like they were just like blowing up at each other, So, Katie, I heard you said that you don't think this is the best HOH for Vic. Is this the reason why? Like, do you think that this move was just like not it, or what?
Well, I mean, I think it's yet to be seen. I think I said, like, I don't know if it's the best game move. I think it could go either way, but it seems like obviously she had the girls, right? She has her director's alliance. She was in a pretty good spot. And I think she, obviously we know who the HOH is now this week. I don't know if we've said it yet or spoiled it yet, but I think with her speech, you never know the way that things could go, right? Like her speech was a little spicy towards Vivek, and then obviously she changed her mind midweek and went for Donna. And I think that also puts Bailey in a position where can she trust her? Can't she trust her? I worry a little bit that she's under Anthony's thumb a little. And I just don't know that at the end of the day, like it just feels like she would be a really easy target because of some of the moves she made this week. And a lot of people would have reason to put her up without, it would make sense. Why put blood on your hands to put anybody else up on the block when Spicy V has made so many big swings over the last week during her HOH? It would make sense for a lot of people to put her up on the block, no matter who won.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And, obviously we're going to see if it has any payoffs. Another thing that we're starting to see, obviously, with all these blow-ups is Donna. Obviously, Donna, she's kind of being seen as she's kind of like showing out here like as a threat. She's kind of got something going on with like Lexus that she's trying to push people to go towards Lexus. And obviously that's going to flip on its head. We're going to see Dennis win a veto, and everything's going to kind of change up because he's going to veto Vivek off of the block. And we're going to see Victoria basically switch her target from Vivek to Donna. Now, this was a big blindside for some people. Do we feel like this was the right move, or was this like a huge mistake for Vic?
I want to ask you guys before we get into the move itself, like, what do you think about her choice not to clue in Dennis when he won the veto of what her plan was going to be? Because I feel like this is where she really could have built some trust, and we saw that he didn't know, at least on the show. I didn't watch the dailies, but at least on the show, he seemed very surprised that her move was to put up Donna. And obviously someone that's winning competitions who isn't in your alliance, like maybe, we always say information is currency. And she's like, do whatever's best for your game. I don't know what the plan's going to be. And, he's like, don't tell me. But it feels like that burnt a big trust bridge. So I'm curious, whether or not it was Donna or anybody else, what do you guys think about the opinion or the decision to not tell Dennis what her plan was going to be? Because I feel like that's almost worse than putting up Donna.
I think the issue is that the move itself was just such a choice. Like it wasn't, in my opinion, it kind of answers both of your questions, but
Yeah.
I think it was such a bad move. Like I don't think it really serves her any purpose. But my issue is that they, first of all, they didn't want the POV to be used. And then Dennis won the POV. And then they were like, oh, how can we get him to use it, but not ask him to use it? So make him think it's his idea. But it's like they could have just been straightforward, especially since what they were pitching to him, they were saying in the digital dailies, we should do an alliance, you, me, Vivek, Anthony, and it was someone else, Avery or another girl. Like they were trying to pitch that alliance, and Dennis was for it. Like he was here for it, and he was like, you know what, like that sounds like something I could do. But then she wasn't actually fully extending herself to be open to really play with him. And like the way they went about it, because Anthony was also trying to manipulate him. Victoria, they didn't air this, which I thought was really interesting, but she kept referencing Rohan on her season. She was saying Rohan's biggest regret was not using the veto on his biggest ally. And when we go drinking all the time, that's what he says. That's what he says. He says he always regrets it every time we go drinking, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, ooh, like poor Rohan, like his shit's getting aired on the digital dailies, but I'm like, damn, like it's working. And they do this tag team thing where like Anthony will talk to the next person by himself and still implement those ideas, which is why it's mind-boggling to me that no one's like cluing into that. But I just feel like Victoria didn't trust Dennis. She was kind of targeting him indirectly. But why have targets when you can have allies? She could have usually just been like, I know that you want to protect Vivek, and I'm actually open to you saving Vivek because I think I want another target to go home. Now, Dennis apparently was somewhat in allyship with Donna. They were hanging out a little bit. But I think if she was going home, she might as well have clued him in. But she chose not to, and I feel like that was a lack of like building trust between them. There's just built. I just feel like it's much weaker than what it could have been.
Right. For me, it's just like it depends. Like I think numerically, if you're thinking about it, it won't really matter because they kind of have the numbers. They have their group of 5, and then there's like the plus ones where you got like Elijah's over here. You got Matt by extension because he's cool, Alexis and Anthony, or Todd. You know, like there's certain people where it's like, you could have handled this better, but ultimately, as long as the hot chocolates are power, it doesn't really matter. I still think that she probably should have handled it a little bit better because who wants to get blindsided? Because like ultimately, you're giving someone enough ammo to like nominate you next week if they win it, right? But all in all, especially after seeing what the possible trajectory of the week coming up is, it didn't really matter at the end of the day, you know. But it was a good question. I feel that.
But Isaiah, to your point, though, I just feel like if Dennis wins HOH, that strength, that relationship that could have been established is lost. Like I get that, like she has the numbers technically, but anyone can win this game, and we've clearly seen that Dennis is capable of winning some competitions, being the only person this season so far to win a POV. So I feel like I get what you're saying, and I agree to an extent. But I do think it's also a lost opportunity to create and strengthen bonds with someone else in the house.
I feel that.
Yeah, I think if there's an opportunity to build the bridge, you should build the bridge instead of kind of burn it down, right? Like, why not? Why give anybody a reason to target you and make such, especially in week 2, especially for Donna, who was not coming for you. Like, Donna was not coming for you. Donna was riding with the women. We knew that. I think, you know, obviously whatever Spicy V was thinking, that's what she was thinking. But I kind of wish she just like took a minute and thought it out a little bit more, because it feels like this was not a great decision for her across the board.
I think also what made it worse is that she kind of like, she didn't directly lie, but she did lie to him, because when Vivek and Dennis were talking about the POV being used, they were talking about who do you think is going to go up. And what wasn't shown is that they fully believed that Matthew was going on the block. But Matthew was definitely never going on the block because he was in the Directors Alliance, which is having a big impact on this game, which is why I'm surprised they're not like making a bigger deal out of it in the intros, at least. Like I think Elijah had a confessional the either last episode or 2 episodes ago where he was saying like I'm confident because I have the directors, but they're actually playing a big impact on this game, right? So when Dennis and Vivek were having that conversation and thinking they were Matthew, they asked Victoria like Matthew, like not Matthew, sorry. Dennis tried to hint it and like, is it Matthew? And Victoria kind of led him to believe that it was a yes. So he was truly gagged. Like he thought Matthew was going up on the block. Little did he know that Matthew was also told that they thought he was going on the block. So when the reveal happened and Matthew wasn't shocked, everyone was like, what the hell? Like, why is he not shocked? Like, does he know something? And they played it off to the point where they were like, well, Lexus told him. But it's just also having a negative impact on Lexus's game, which I thought was really interesting. And I think it will have an impact later on in the show. So.
All right. Well, with that, obviously Donna is going to be on our block. And, you know, she was not really happy about it. You know, Bailey wasn't very happy about it. Very big week for Bailey in general. Got in a fight with Vivek, got in a fight with Anthony, got in a fight with a lot of people this week.
Oh, we can't hear you.
We can't hear you. No, we can't hear you. But it seemed like you were saying something really good.
I was invested. I mean, here's like we could talk about Donna. What I found interesting is that the digital dailies of her.
Am I good?
Yes, we can hear you. The digital dailies afterwards were immediately the moment she stood up. Like we got like live feed immediately after the POV ceremony. So we really got to see her like actually get up and be fuming pissed, not saying a word, just straightly going up the stairs. And what was so weird is that Spicy was playing the victim. And I feel like that was a common theme for the rest of that week, is Spicy playing the victim of sorts. And Donna, when they showed on the show that Donna was like, not right now, like it was so much more worse because there's no background music, there's no noise.
Yeah, awkward.
Just, like, silence until you could cut the tension with a knife. It was crazy.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, we are going to see her go. Very confusing in terms of the show's edit a little bit, where we see her and Todd kissing on the way out. I was like, where the hell did this come from? But okay, I guess her and Todd had a showmance. I didn't. Was anyone else aware of this? Because I was not. Like, I didn't know about it.
No, I wasn't aware until the digital dailies that came up on
the next day, right?
Thursday. Because on Thursday, that's when we got to see the rest of her campaigning. And we got to see Todd like make a move on her and then kiss her. But
in the hallway.
But Todd's kissing a lot of people because the digital dailies I watched today, he was kissing Victoria. So I'm like, I just like to kiss.
Oh, I don't know. It was like, on the cheek though, wasn't it? Or was it like was it on the?
So well, we could talk about it, I guess, but Spicy was talking to Todd about like, because Todd was saying how he felt a little nervous about who wins HOH and then potentially going up on the block. And Victoria was like, no, like I talked to him, like you're good, blah, blah, blah. And so then he kisses her on the cheek and then she goes, oh, you're kissing me on the cheek, like, oh, you're still in love with Donna or something. And then he goes in to kiss her again. Now, from my perspective, it looked like it was a kiss on the lips. So I said, oh, what? Like, were you just not? And I was like, Victoria, do you not have a? But I was like, you know what?
Maybe it was the gesture, you know?
Maybe the angles made it look like it was on the lips after that comment, but she stopped talking when like it was like blah 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 blah. Oh, and then like she kept talking right after his lips. So I said, oh, like, I don't know. Because if someone kisses me on the cheek, I could still talk. I don't know. Anyways, but alas, Tom likes to kiss, and I hope that we'll see. When we talked to Donna about it in our interview, which is now on our YouTube channel, we talked to her and she was like, we'll see. She's open, she's down, but I don't think they were like exclusive or anything. So
yeah,
if you want to go around and kiss people, I think she can't be mad at it or will be mad at it. I don't know. That's her tea.
Well, something. All right. And you know, Todd making some moves. Maybe just not game related ones. But
yeah, not game related.
Oh! That was good.
So we do ultimately see though that Donna does leave, and we do find out earlier today that Vivek is our new HOH. How do we feel about this? Vivek
Before
is
we get to
HOH.
Vivek, I have a question for Josie
Oh,
because you might know. Obviously, we saw in the show. I haven't watched the dailies, but in the show, it seemed like there was a possibility of a flip. I saw all over Twitter that it seemed like maybe there was going to be a house
that's what I
flip.
was talking about before. I'm like, this
How close were we to actually getting a flip based on what we saw in the dailies?
So, I think that it's a little bit hard to tell because you don't know true people's emotions until you really see them in that confessional, which is what the broadcast allows us.
Yeah.
Because Avery made it a point to be like, I'm not changing my vote. Like, it's not happening. And like the girls thought Avery was acting a little cocky. Like, and it even talked about in the recent digital dailies that came out that she was doing like a little too much. At least that was what was discussed between Vivek and Dennis. So I don't know about Avery specifically. I don't think that flip was going to happen in terms of Avery, but a lot of the narrative was that Kayla would have been the key player to make that flip happen. I know Victoria told Donna that Anthony would be the key to flip, but based off the numbers that they were doing, it would have been Kayla. But even Vivek, for example, who could have been a pivotal vote, he did flat out said, I'm not keeping Donna. It's not happening. And I think because Vivek wants to demonstrate loyalty and kind of be in a better position that he isn't in currently, that's why he was like, it's not happening. So Dennis really wanted to make something change. I think that he is very aware a little bit of Anthony's gameplay, which is very interesting. And I think Vivek is just scared because Bailey just yelled at him X amount of days ago and he was supposed to go home. So was there a potential of a flip? For sure. We saw that the vote was 3-7, but these key players are either A, in the hot chocolate alliance, or B, traumatized. So it just wasn't it, like the numbers were close, but like I knew coming into it regardless, like there was not gonna be a flip because the key players are just too insulated into the grasp of the all-stars, in my opinion. But yeah, I think the girls crying and having a moment, that was a big thing, but it was also causing more attention, which wasn't seen. A lot of people have been complaining about how Bailey cuts people off. That's a recurring thing with Kayla and Avery and technically all the girls that aren't Bailey. So that caused a little bit of tension. And it was really weird because they're trying to justify this move, but they're just, in my opinion, ruining the relationship with Bailey. But we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
I mean, let's get into it. Vivek is HOH. Sorry, that was what I wanted to ask before my mic cut out until I forgot it. But Vivek is HOH. How do we feel about it? Are we afraid for an Anthony and Vic? Or does it seem like something else is on the horizon? I've seen a lot of conflicting opinions on Twitter today. So how do you guys feel about it?
I think Vivek is going to dig himself a little bit more of a hole than he should be digging himself here. I think it sounds like his target is going to be Bailey with a potential of Spicy V up next to her. Or who do we think is going to be the other nominee? Goose.
He's already confirmed that on the yeah.
It's Goose. Well, Vivek, you gave us an intro package saying you're going to make moves, you're going to be the villain, and I'm not seeing that. And that's why I drafted him first. And I'm a little bit disappointed in his gameplay here because Bailey is on the outs. She has no power. Even if she wins, she's going to put him up, but she doesn't have the clout in the house to even rally votes. So why waste your HOH on Goose, who, granted, maybe he doesn't know that he's part of that bigger alliance, but Bailey, when there's two power players in this house, Spicy V put you up on the block, caused chaos the week before, gave a pretty spicy speech when she put you up on the block, and she changed, her mind changed with the wind a little bit, and you ended up being saved, but it's not guaranteed that that's going to happen in the future. And I think if Anthony wins, it's probably not, that situation wouldn't have happened if Anthony was HOH, I really don't think that backdoor would have happened. So why not take the shot now early while you can? Yeah, maybe you don't have the numbers, but if you hook both of them up or someone who's clearly in that alliance with them, at least you start weakening that side and then you can at least gather some power around you. But you're taking out two inconsequential people here and it's doing nothing to set him up for success in the future.
How about you, Josie?
So I am officially gonna state that I am Team Dennis
Yeah.
Nation right here.
Yeah.
Because Dennis is the only player in my
Voice of
opinion
reason.
who is actually seeing what's going on. I don't think he fully grasps everything, but he sees what's being done. And when he's strategizing with Vivek, it's like he's so mystified by Anthony that he can't see clearly. He can't even see the hand in front of his face. It's crazy. Like the digital dailies kind of provided us with so much info, but I really wanted a Dennis HOH because here's the thing, as much as I want to root for hot chocolate, I don't like a steamroll. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't like a steamroll. And if there is a steamroll, I like tension amongst the people. I feel like the cookout's a really good example because it's like there was tension among them, which made it entertaining and funny because it's like you never knew, you know what I mean? Despite them being an alliance for a cause. Like I liked that dynamic. Had they just always been on the same page on one accord, I don't know if it would have been as enjoyable. And the issue is that hot chocolate right now just seems to be on the same page. And the same page is Anthony's page, not even Victoria's page. No offense to her, but there's some decisions she can do to insulate herself better than Anthony, and she's not doing that. Whereas Anthony is insulating himself better than Victoria on other fronts outside of the Hot Chocolate Alliance. So, with that being said, a Vivek HOH, I was hoping, I'm like, maybe something can be done, maybe. But I don't think he is the one because even with the Donna vote, he didn't want to budge. I like players who are willing to leave the hatchet. You can argue, but then if you know that person is potentially better for your game, then to keep them. Because Donna and Vivek actually had a really good relationship. The reason why she was in trouble in the first place is because she kept hanging out with him, kept being buddies with him. And that's what put her on the block. So for me, for Vivek to be like, I'm not changing my vote, I'm not going to even consider this, was crazy to me. And I'm like, you're showing me that you're not actually an adaptable or flexible player. And he thinks he is so delusional. He thinks that everything that transpired that week was his work. His work. He feels like he's the reason why the POV was used. He's the reason why Donna went up, and he's the reason she went home. When that couldn't be further from the truth. So the case of the Lulu is strong with Brother Vivek. That's why watching the digital dailies was really hard for me today. Because I'm like, you just aren't understanding what's actually happening. And the syndrome of the Lulu is crazy. I think Blue passed it on to him from the US to Canada. Express shipping. So I'm disappointed with the fact that he wants to go after Bailey and Goose. And what's crazy to me is that he wants Bailey to go home, and the girls are talking about keeping Bailey over Goose. So honestly, it's looking like a flop HOH, and it's all his fault.
Hey man, I don't know. I think so. I have like a little different take on it. I do think like ultimately in this scenario, if I'm going off of my knowledge with Big Brother US, because obviously I've only seen a handful of seasons in Canada. Usually when it's a season with returnees, usually if you're like one of the guys going after guys, girls, whoever going after the returnees, you're doomed. Like the returnees are almost guaranteed to make jury every season. If it's not just the house, it's also production. You know what I'm saying? And anytime I have seen a situation where newbies are having like some sort of success against a vet, it's usually working with them or at least staying cordial with them until like that jury phase, right? So I think that honestly, I think Katie kind of mapped out every reason why he should kind of want Bailey out. Bailey doesn't really come with any kind of allies or numbers with her. She doesn't really come with any kind of social capital. She kind of blew up his game last week. And third of all, you just said it yourself. If she wins HOH, she's probably going to nominate him. Why would I want to keep that in the house? You know, there's not really any pluses with going with the Bailey versus, all right, let me kiss some ass over here for a little bit, get on these people's good side, and guess what? It's going to move them up the totem pole. It's not going to put them anywhere higher up with the hot chocolates, but it's at least going to get them at least a couple spots higher too. Hopefully, look, Victoria did some messy shit last week. Who's saying she's not going to do it again next week? Who's saying Avery or any of these people aren't going to do something crazy? Tola, that just magically blows up the position, and then who knows what the opportunity is. So I think maybe Vivek, a player who doesn't really have the best social capital in the house right now, should be taking this HOH to kind of like, all right, let me rebuild my bonds with people. We saw he had some good conversations with Victoria today, cuddle up with her. She was like, looking out for him. I don't know how valid that was, but it was something. Also, got Anthony and him crying in the same room with each other. It was trying something, so it's like, all right, it's not going to put him in the hot chocolates. It's not going to put him at the top of the house. But what it does is it gives it hope. If Dennis wants to do it, let Dennis do it on his own HOH. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be the person week 3 when the whole house already wants me out, taking a shot at one of the 2 vets, one of them come down, and then guess what's going to happen? They're going to vote out whoever the next person is, and then everyone's going to come after you next week. You could say that, hey, Vivek's not going to win, but hey, look, I think him not coming after Anthony and Victoria, it will buy him a couple more weeks than just going home next week, So ultimately, I see what you guys are saying. Like, I'm not saying you're wrong. I think that I'd rather go for a chance than like no chance. All right, he takes a shot at Anthony or Victoria. What's going to happen next week? Let's get Vivek out of here. Or, hey, Vivek's not really coming after us right now. We want him out, but like, hey, look, there's a whole bunch of people over here that we don't really have a good connection with. Let's get Tola out next week. You already said that they're talking about Elijah. Let's get Elijah out. Something like that, There's a person like Matt right now who I'm like, Matt's doing the right thing. He wants to come after the vets, but he's not vocalizing it with, it's either Matt or Todd. I don't know which one it is. One of those two, we don't really see them on the screen that much. They literally said, don't get too close with Anthony. I feel like maybe like that's the right thing. Like, stay out the way, hope that someone F's up, and then you go on your separate ways. And then look, who knows if the hot chocolates blow up some random week that's going to give them an opportunity. We don't know. This is Big Brother. We don't know. The show is very chaotic. So I'm open. You know what I'm saying? All we know, an invisible HOH comes next week. Guess what? We don't know. The show is so unpredictable. I think you play it safe rather than make a big splash and just go home next week. But I see what you guys are saying as well. It's a very interesting position to be in, But what are you gonna do?
I wanted to highlight a few things too about the week because we didn't talk about them yet. So Vivek won HOH. These are very important before we outline everything. Vivek won HOH. During the HOH, apparently the final 3 was Avery, Alexis, and him. And then I guess Vivek promised safety, but then Avery won safety for the week. So she can't be nominated. I don't know what the premises is, but she's safe regardless. So Avery cannot be an option. And then I said Lexus, but it was Kayla. It was Kayla, Avery, and Vivek. Pardon me. So Kayla, Vivek, and Avery were in the final 3 of that HOH competition. Avery won safety for the week, so she can't be nominated. And between Kayla and Vivek, apparently Vivek could have thrown it to Kayla, but he was like, nah, I want to win. And despite all that, he said that he would not nominate her. So Kayla and Avery are seemingly people that he will not nominate. He then went and told Todd that he wouldn't nominate him, despite apparently Todd and Bailey being very vocal about the fact that they were irritated that he won HOH. Todd and him had a conversation, and Todd was just like, the reason I reacted that way is because literally last week you were saying that you were going to nominate me and Bailey, and so that's why I felt that type of way. And it felt like people were pushing for a Bailey Todd nomination. However, Vivek is staying strong on Bailey and Goose. So it evolved because Vivek decided not to nominate Todd. However, Dennis was trying to push for Anthony to go up. Victoria is super paranoid, rightfully so, because she kind of made an ass out of herself by like that speech towards Vivek. So I think those are important perimeters before we keep talking about everything else.
For sure. Go ahead, Gary.
I was just saying, it just feels like outside of Hot Chocolate and the directors, although it sounds like if they want to get rid of Goose, who knows how they're even, obviously the directors aren't really that important if they're willing to cut Goose, even though he was totally loyal to them last week and was totally fine being a pawn on the block where he very easily could have ended up going home. These are the types of moves where I'm like, what are we doing here? But it just feels like there's not that many people for Vivek to be able to grab and bring alongside of him if he wants to actually do anything later on, because that other side for now feels pretty solid. At least Hot Chocolate is solid, right? Yeah, maybe Matt and Elijah are on the outsides, obviously, but it just feels like with Anthony and Victoria in such positions where that group is not going to come for them. The rest of the house is like, I don't know, they just feel very like loose. They're not playing hard. They're just kind of there. It's like, it doesn't feel like Vivek is going to be able to get in with that group that's already solid. So the best next step you can do is at least try and rally some of these people who are just like chilling to at least, and like be the power. Him and Dennis can be the power of that side and rally them while there's still enough people left for you to rally. It just feels like, even if it's not Victoria or Anthony, like take out someone close to them, but you could say like, I kept you safe. It just doesn't feel like it's making any impact in a positive way for Vivek's game, other than, you're right, Isaiah, saying like, he kept me safe, so maybe not next week. But I mean, there's not that many people left outside of like a Todd and a Tola to put up that would even matter. And I don't think Victoria and Anthony are interested in just taking out floaters and pawns and whatever. Like, they're obviously making moves.
I agree, but like also I'm starting to think that Dennis is more of a threat to go out next week than Vivek now. If Dennis needs to win a HOH if he wants to do that. Like, I've already seen Anthony was like talking about, hey, Dennis might actually be coming after us. And on top of that, I mean, like I said, Bailey doesn't really bring much to the table. You guys are saying like recruiter. I mean, she's already said multiple times, I want to work with all women. I want Vivek out of here. Like Vivek, it's like I'm done with Vivek. They literally blew up her game. She doesn't really bring much to the table, so why not put someone up that's already coming for you, that's probably not going to work with you or want to take it to the end? I don't see the problem. And also I agree with the whole comment like, oh, this house is very fluid and there's not much movement. It's because that's just how good this alliance is operating right now. Like, we saw this kind of with Big Brother 12 in US, the Brigade. Nobody knew that this thing was going on. They were so fluid, but nobody could really get a grasp on what was going on. There are people who are looking like, hey, Vic and Anthony are probably like close, but nobody knows that like Anthony is like this with Kayla and Lexus and Avery, when like Vic is like talking shit on Lexus half of the time. Vic doesn't like Lexus. No way that's going to work out. Hey, they're aligned right now. It's like, I can understand why it's not as easy to see. Like, yeah, Dennis is saying target Anthony and Vic, but that's just because he's aware of their history. He doesn't know that they're aligned with like half the house right now, So it's like, honestly, if you want this kind of move, you need Dennis to kind of take charge and actually kind of be the person to recruit people. It's like, I understand Vivek, you're like, all right, but I'm also like, I'm not going to try to be like the shield for this guy. Like, you take initiative. I'll be HOH. I'll do the move. But like, Dennis, you need to rally the troops and then we can make it happen. Like, last thing I would want to do is be like a casualty in a war just because I was doing someone else's dirty work from, you know what I'm saying? So I think Dennis also, as much as I enjoy his read on the house, he needs to be a lot more proactive with like forming another big alliance. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want an alliance to form, you need another side to counteract what's going on. You need to be the one to initiate that kind of thing, or else it's just like, all right, what are we really doing here? You feel me? But that's just me. I don't know.
Okay. I think my issue with this is that the war has already begun, and I fear it's a little too late. Because Dennis did try last week to flip the vote on Donna. However, no one was budging, and it's not because of Elijah. It's not because Elijah is worth anything to them. It's simply because everything is kind of set in motion, low-key, for an Anthony win. Because
I don't know about that.
right now, based off what I've seen, all information ends up with Anthony, regardless of what he does. Tola provides some information. Dennis provides some information. Vivek provides some information. The hot chocolate girls provide him with information. He has information from everyone. And the reason why I wanted the flip to happen was because I felt like Donna could have been a number for this waging war. Hot Chocolates is already set to win. I know that we're saying Big Brother, anything can happen, but it's low-key much more of a longer shot than it could. Like, it's much longer than what it should be, because Dennis's name has already been out there. Elijah himself talked about it with Matthew last week when Donna was still in the house, talking about, the next person that needs to go is Dennis, simply because he has 2 POV wins. So regardless of if he does make the move or not, if he tries to make something shake or not, he already has a target on his back because he's won 2 POVs. That's why I wanted a Dennis HOH, because I feel like the only person who's willing to play the game and actually try to make something shake so that the trajectory of which we're heading, which is not a bad trajectory. I would love Anthony to win. There's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. But again, I'm saying, like, if I was in anyone else's shoes that wasn't a hot chocolate member, it would just make sense to shoot. Now, I understand your point about, hey, like, if you come for a return, like, hot chocolate, you're next up. But if you cut one of the heads,
you're still gonna get targeted.
It causes chaos. I'm not saying he's not. Yeah. I'm sorry. Unfortunately, everyone's being targeted. Everyone's being targeted, because at the end of the day, there's just so many people who can make it to day, 84. Like, everyone's being targeted. Tola's been a target at some point. Matthew's being targeted right now. Elijah and Matthew, the girls, Victoria and Avery, at the end of the digital daily that came out today, they were talking about how they both need to go. So they're also being targeted. Vivek been targeted. Had Dennis not used the POV, he would have gone home. Dennis is a target. He was supposed to go home this week. Had anyone won HOH, Dennis would have gone home this week, unless he would have won POV. Todd has been a target because no one's really working with Todd. So yes, you're saying, like, oh, like, they're going to get targeted. Everyone's being targeted because at the end of the day, there's only one winner. And I feel like the trajectory is only to the advantage of the hot chocolate, which is fine. But if anyone outside of hot chocolate wants to win, some players from hot chocolate need to go. They need to go. And what's good about Anthony's game is that he's protected himself enough where he has relationships with Matt, with Elijah, with Tola, with Vivek, with Dennis. So even though Dennis is potentially going after him, he has those relationships. So even if hot chocolate splits, Anthony is still good. Avery is a really good player. Kayla is a very good player. Lexus is at the bottom of that totem pole. They are also talking about how they're nervous about Lexus and Matt to be, like, separated. To me, it doesn't make sense to just sit there and wait to be picked off. I would rather shoot big and say, at least I tried, than to just be picked off on day 56, because an empire has already been formed and it's hard to dismantle it. Like, the core is Avery loves Victoria. Victoria always has Dougie. And Kayla is a part of the group. Like, she is just added to it. This is unshakable. And Alexis is also there. But if hot chocolate makes it to final 5, Alexis is the first to go. There is no sense of urgency. That's my issue with this cast. There is no sense of urgency. Everyone is floating. Exactly what you said, Katie. No one is playing the game except for the people in hot chocolate and Dennis. That's what I feel like.
Yeah,
I'm gonna cut them some slack, because I feel like I've seen the girls, especially in the hot chocolate lines, really talk about how they really like want to make this work. We kind of saw, like, Vic, even like it was in Paranoia, was talking about, like, hey, I know Anthony's game, he might do X, Y, and Z. I do think that there's going to be that thing in the back of your mind where, like, let's say hot chocolate does get a 5. I think Anthony does have a really good shot at being one of the first people to go as well. You're going to have 3 girls who are newbies looking at these 3 vets, and I think Anthony would be the first because he's the only guy in the alliance. That's just me. Also, on top of that, I do think Anthony himself, he's thinking 10 steps ahead like everyone else. He's going to have to think about that at some point. That he's like, I'm the only guy in this alliance was stopping him from doing something, which is why he does have those extra bonds in case he needs to do something and flip on this group. He can't. But regardless, I agree with everything you're saying. I just need, for example, Dennis, if he's having these reads, got to do something about it. Just because you're like telling people what to do, what are you doing? He had the veto the first week. He didn't really do nothing with it. You know what I'm saying? He had it last week.
I actually think that was a good move for him, is to not do anything that week 1.
I don't know.
What can he? I feel like you're saying for him to do something, but you're making it seem like it only takes.
I'm not really impressed by
the village. Like
it does. He needs to form the village. You can't just tell people to do stuff. You need to
going to choose to form with Dennis. That's why I'm saying the game is
he needs to do it.
Late. It's
when you need to make an alliance.
He needs Vivek to be on board before he can even do anything.
He needs to talk about let's form a group. It's not just let's put this person up. All right, what numbers do we got? I got some loose. That's the problem. You need to form a group. You know what I'm saying? Give people.
Please tell me who he should form a group with, because I don't think that's
anybody. The fact that you even invite anybody, it doesn't matter. Literally anybody. Even if, let's say, like I said, they don't even know hot chocolate exists. But let's say he even offers a member of hot chocolate in there. The fact that anybody even feels included in something, it gives them the opportunity to be like, I don't know. You need to just form something. They don't even know. Like, we're speaking as the perspective of a viewer. We know all the alliances. We know the form. They don't even know hot chocolate exists. So in my mind, why aren't you just trying to do something? Like, all right, I'm not going to.
Well, I do think it's very obvious that the girls are together. I think the one outlier is Anthony, that they don't know Anthony's a part of it. But I don't think there's any world where they don't think at least those 4 girls are together, and that like Bailey obviously is on the outs because of what happened with Donna. But like those 4 girls are clearly together. I think everybody knows that at this point.
The fact that Anthony's even in the position he's in, because he's a very proactive player. Everyone came here knowing this guy is a huge threat. But he's proactive with talking to people, making bonds with people. And that's what I mean by proactiveness. You need, just because you're telling people about like, oh, we need to do this, you need to do that. No, like make them feel like an ally, like bring them into something. That Goose move was great. Goose is literally just like a sitting pawn right now for them because they built that foundation with them to make them feel safe. You need to really like bring someone. They're like, hey, we're not really with Elijah right now, but let's make a fake alliance with the guy so he feels like he's included in something. You need to make groups. You know what I'm saying? The longer he waits, like it's great to have a read, but like if you're not a proactive player, I'm not that impressed. It's like I really like Dennis.
That's my point. Like he is trying because he tried to flip the Donna.
So has he said let's make an alliance with anybody? Like,
yes, he has tried to make an alliance with Victoria. That happened, and I already explained it.
That's a problem.
He tried to make. My point is he tried to make an alliance with. To include Vivek, Victoria, Anthony, and stuff, which wasn't good for his game, but at least he tried. He tried to flip the vote on Donna, and his allies didn't want to. And even if he tried to make an alliance with a hot chocolate member, everyone else would know.
What about the rest of the house?
Everyone, the rest of the house is who? Todd and Dennis have formed a relationship. We found that out, especially through Donna's eviction, right? That's one person. Vivek is another. That could be a solid 3. However, when you can't even try to shoot at the same people, how can you work together? I think people are so mystified by Anthony. And it's good gameplay on Anthony. I'm telling you, Anthony is a great player. But they are so mystified that they won't even shoot that way. If they shoot at anyone, it's any of the girls. And Vivek has tried to make a guys thing happen. But then Matthew and Anthony go and they tell Victoria and them. So it's like when they try to be proactive, there's always leaks because they're so well insulated. I'm sorry. You can't sit here and tell me that Dennis is not proactive because he is. My frustration is with the rest of the fucking house asleep. They're asleep. They're asleep. Matthew and Elijah thinking directors to the end. What happens when you're at 7? What happens when you're at 7? Like, there is no
You don't know.
Thought process. No one is
You
actually.
gotta remember, Steve Moses literally got brought into the whole Scamper squad and ended up winning the season. You never know. Like,
That
you
was
don't
great
know.
for Steve, but I'm talking with the information we have now and the
Of-
trajectory.
Right now, I'm just saying that it's so early. I don't
But
think
we'll
there's
do a weekly recap, and at week 3, this is how I feel. Now, if I week
for
4,
sure.
I
But I'm also
but I'm telling you
speaking
what I feel at
for
week 3.
like the future. There's so it's so early. This game could flip on its head, just like do we really think Ty was going to win last season? No, we just
yes.
don't
I did.
know. I
He
didn't
was
think
part of the
so.
power from the beginning.
And
We
he
didn't
was
know
with
Claudia was
his
going to do all that
woman.
though. You know, like literally,
Oh, that
all
time.
we know, the comp beast of the season hasn't even been formed yet. We don't know. Like I understand you, but it's just so early. There is only 2 people have gone. Anything could happen. I don't think there's right or wrong moves right now. I see what you're saying, but there is opportunity for like anything to happen. I'm not going to close the door out on anything just yet. Like
I think Ty is actually a
understand
good example of why you should shoot your shot early, because at a certain point in the game last season, it was impossible. There was 1 week that Daniel could have gotten Ty out and didn't, and then that was it. It was off limits for the rest of the season. Ty could not get evicted. He had the power veto every single time. He could not get evicted. So I think, a lot of people get like, oh, it's safe, this person's easy, let's just get them out now and we can go for the power later. To Josie's point, it almost feels like it's only week 3 and it's already too late because they're so connected and everybody else, Josie, to your point, is asleep. Cut the head off the snake. Everybody else will scatter and then you can pick up the pieces. Maybe you can't, but at least you tried. Otherwise, you're just going to be cut at a random number, Josie, exactly like you said. Well, like, Vivek is fine. Like, he went for Bailey this week. It's not a big deal. He's not coming for us. But then next week, when there's no one else to go after, like, yeah, we should put Vivek up. Remember what he said about the All Guys Alliance? And then, like, he said the thing about the East Coast. Like, we should get him out. He's a snake. It's not setting him up for future success. It's giving him maybe an extra week, maybe an extra 2. But getting those 2 people, either Goose or Bailey, is not in any way going to win him the game because he's already so far out of that power structure. Go for someone big, take the shot, and then people will be like, oh, he's not scared to make moves. Like, maybe we should all form something. Those people are all scattering. They're all panicking. Then he could pick up the pieces. Him and Dennis could get together and actually pick the pieces up. But while you have Victoria, to a lesser extent, and Anthony still in the house, everybody is going to be stuck to them like glue. No one in that group is going to turn on them until everybody else is gone in the house. You got to get one of them out.
I think Anthony, to me, is the godfather.
Yeah, he's got to go.
Like, he is so good. And I could give praise where praise is due. That is crazy. Anthony is an insane player. But we're talking about Vivek and Dennis. But my concept is more towards people in the house who are asleep.
Yeah.
So take Elijah, for example. Elijah, in my opinion, has this false confidence that isn't merited. Like, at least this is what I've seen on the feeds. Because he's sitting there talking about we can target XYZ. Little does he know his own alliance members are plotting against him because he's in La La Land. He's not, everyone knows Goose, but no one actually has allyship with Goose. Who's going to stick out his neck for him? Because right now they're saying if Bailey and Goose go on the block, he is going home. Fully, mind you, that Goose isn't thinking my alliance is turning on him because he's so asleep to the fake promises that were made to him and that keep being reinstilled in him, which is insane to me because he is asleep. And unfortunately, no offense to my good sis Donna, but my sister was asleep. She was asleep. Even in that confrontation between Bailey and Vivek, she was asleep. So when Victoria said, Donna, you are going on the block, she was gagged because she didn't realize until it was too late. And even when we were talking to her during our exit interviews, she didn't fully know all of the things that led to her demise. She's like, Anthony's a smooth talker. Everyone realizes Anthony's a smooth talker when they're home. Janine said the same thing 2 weeks ago. That's the issue. They're so asleep that to me, it's just like, I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm not disagreeing with you, Isaiah. I'm not saying it's not possible. It takes a twist. It takes an invisible HOH. But as it stands right now, they are still sleeping. And it's going to take something big to wake them up. And usually, unfortunately, is when they're evicted. So it's just unfortunate. But it is what it is. And I'm not saying that Anthony is not beatable. I'm not saying he's playing a perfect game. Same thing with Victoria and the rest of Hot Chocolate. There are a lot of things I can criticize about their game. Like we can go into it if we wanted to do one by one by one by one. But I'm just saying, like, as it stands right now, Anthony is the godfather pulling the strings, and no one sees it. No one. And that's insane to me because he's an all-star. And you said it perfectly, Katie. Ty, everyone, Ty was a target week 2, week 3 with Zach. Zach went home and they kept saying, we can get rid of Ty later. We can get rid of him later. And what happened? Brother won. He won. And he deserves to win. No one can talk shit about Ty's winning. You could say that you wanted Daniel C to win or Claudia to win, but what he did needs to be respected. And he was a target week 2. Anthony's coming into the house built like this, tough guy, final 2, and he's still in the house and no one's really targeting him. The only person is Dennis. That's insane to me. No one is speaking on Victoria. Vivek, who got put on the block by Victoria, isn't even really talking about her going home, at least from what we saw from this digital daily. And that is insane to me. But that just speaks to their crazy gameplay. And that's just respect to the All-Stars. They're All-Stars for a reason. Period.
And then what happens to Vivek when Bailey stays? To your point, Isaiah, why wouldn't you want to get rid of her now because she's coming for you? But if you have no influence on the vote whatsoever, you're just putting 2 random people up on the block, they're going to do whatever they want, whatever's best for their game. They don't care what the HOH is going to do. And then she's still going to be in the house coming for him. It's even more so, instead of trying to rebuild the relationship with her and get her on his side, he's going to put her up and burn her even more. And then she might not even go home.
Vivek, if Vivek was smart and he wanted a no blood HOH, don't even put up Goose. Put up Victoria. You put me up on you put me on the block. You gave me a chance for veto. I'm gonna put you up, but you're my pawn. Pili, I want you to go home. That way, 2 girls are on the block. First of all, that's his biggest criticism. He wants the guys to go and stick together. Well, then make sure that a girl goes and put them both on the block. Now, would I like to see that? No, but that's strategically what's best for his game. Him putting Goose up makes no sense. Oh, he's a perpetual pawn. Vivek, you are not in a position in the house where you can tell people what to do.
Yeah, you're not dictating
on the block, and that's what's crazy to me. And this is why the concept of pawns and people being like, sure, I'll go on the block, is crazy to me. Once you're on the block, it's no longer the HOH's decision. For you to think that it's an HOH decision is dumb. It's a fucking democracy, and everyone has the right to vote except for the person who put you up on the block. So you should never feel comfortable going up as a pawn. Are you dumb? It's crazy to me. And Goose's false sense of security is what's going to get him out if the girls decide to take him out. And they want to. That's what they've discussed. So
I don't think they're really going to do it. Like if last week showed me anything, they're just going to chat. You know, like they just like they were going to keep Donna. They ain't going to do it. I will say, like, I see the danger, but like in Goose's situation, he went from last week being included in nothing to now he's kind of like almost guaranteed jury at this point. Like I know that there's like rumblings like, oh, maybe we should get. I don't think they're going to do it. I'm like last week they were jumping up and down left, right, like who should we really put up? That's just how Vic is. I'm gonna be real with you. Vic is messy. So I don't know. I don't think there's a chance in hell that Bailey stays over Goose, especially if Anthony gets involved. That's just me though. But what are you gonna do? We're gonna have to wait and see. She could. Well, that's what I'm saying. If they're not sitting, if they're sitting next to each other, yeah. But like, if she wants to be like, that'd be great. I'm all for it.
I mean, Bailey is putting in the work to make Anthony.
We'll have to see.
Because she's telling other people, she's like, I really want to work with Dougie. I was like, obviously Anthony's gonna find out that she keeps saying, I want to work with Dougie. I want to work with Dougie. Whether she knows it or not, like she's kind of doing good things because obviously information always gets back to him. And I don't think she's doing that subconsciously. I think she's just doing it. So
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I feel like I think the girls would keep Bailey over Goose as it stands because one, Bailey is making a fool out of herself this week. I'm sorry. When Vivek wins HOH, you need to humbly swallow your emotions and keep it cushing. She was yelling. She's like, I'm on slop. Da, da, da. Like she's making a big deal.
She's wild.
mean?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I
In the
don't.
pink room out loud to the girls, and Vivek walks right past her in front of them. And he looks at them, they look at him, and they're like, oh, I think she's low-key reckless that they're like, oh, they're just going to keep feuding. Like when we played Meat and Minis, you're like, oh, these two people are just going to shoot
Yeah,
at
you
each
keep
Let me
Another
keep
reason why I
up
have
with
a
them
hard
so
time
that
seeing
I'm
him
gonna
keep her.
shoot
Like, she's
Goose,
a loose cannon. You know what I'm
because
saying?
Goose is. But the thing is that Billy is so dedicated to the girls. She is
Another
so
reason to take her out.
But the girls are not gonna vote
but
for
the
her.
girls.
I know. I
Yeah.
just don't. They were dedicated on not
Huh?
taking Donna out last week too, and we saw what happened.
The
So
thing is
I
that
don't know.
from this week, and again from what we saw, the narrative is Goose can go. We don't fucking care. Like that's
I'm
that's
just
what it
saying.
is.
Last
I know
week,
what you're saying.
Vivek was the plan, and Donna went home. I just don't have a lot
But
of, and
Bailey is
also,
Bailey's the
I'm not
plan,
saying
but she's
that Bailey is
also
the
these
plan.
dailies, like I understand, but like these are also the same people who, like, 1 second we're seeing on the show, obviously that Anthony wants Vivek out. Next second, he's on the dailies having a heartfelt cry with this guy. He's some. I understand what
You
we're
need to
seeing in the deal, but
contextualize
you also got to
that.
remember we are not seeing everything. All right, they're going to show us what they want to show us, and then we get a lot of shock factor in these episodes. So it's like I'm gonna take it with a grain of salt. I ain't gonna take it. You know what I'm saying? We're not seeing everything. So I
I
don't
think
know
the
what
digital
time these
dailies
conversations are happening. I don't know what time of
take a
day,
time
when in the week. Well, we'll have to see. That don't mean it's accurate. We might get
No,
time
no,
stamps. I
no.
don't mean it's accurate.
I think
So
I think based off what we've seen so far in the digital dailies with what is happening on the show, the content is very accurate. I think
we'll see.
the only content we haven't seen that hasn't been accurate was Todd and Donna, and that only happened the digital daily where she was gone, which obviously made sense because prior to that there was not really that, and she clarified that she said the first time was when we saw it, and I think we're getting an accurate picture on the digital dailies, which is why I'm like everyone tune in because it's actually giving what needs to give because we're not seeing conversations about like slop too much or anything dumb like that. We're actually seeing relevant information that have an impact on the game's dynamic. But alas, you know what? It's okay. I think things will change, things will evolve. But I wouldn't be surprised if Goose goes home, even though Bailey is the plan this week. That's it.
right. All right.
I agree.
Well,
Goose is boring. Yeah. Yeah, Natalie, you ate
Goose is boring.
John. Like, I want to talk about his campaigning just a little bit because he said the exact same thing to everyone aside the directors. You know, if I say, here's the thing about Donna, physically she's better than me. Mentally, we haven't tried that yet, but who knows? She's pretty smart. Yeah, I would like particularly to do something. Maybe I don't know what. Yeah, what are you doing? His campaigning made me want Donna to say so much. Like, I don't know. He says that he's playing the game, and maybe the digital dailies aren't painting him. Maybe we need to have a confessional digital daily moment. I don't know. But Goose, like, he ain't doing nothing. He can go. He can go.
Listen, his
right.
laugh would be enough for me to vote him out. And I'm sorry to that man, but I can't with the laugh. Like it would be enough. I wouldn't be able to live in that house with no other anything going on with just that guy's laugh. He would be gone for me. That would be reason enough for me to vote.
All right. Well, I guess the last thing I'll ask. So as of right now, who does everyone think is playing the best game?
Well, Anthony, of course. But I think Kayla's playing a good game. I think Avery's doing a little too much, but I think Kayla's actually been really impressive. I think she's giving the right kind of information and she's asserting herself in the right way, at least from what I've seen, where she's not coming off as like doing too much, but she's a good ally. Like I really like what I'm seeing from Kayla.
I was literally going to say Kayla for me as well. I think Kayla is literally the only person that's not in some mess right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Avery is being too honest. Vic is being spicy. Anthony is obviously the biggest player right now. And Lexus is on a lot of people's shit list. I think Kayla's out the way in the mix and she's fine. Like I
she's
actually
level-headed.
really like Kayla's game. Yeah, I really like Kayla's game. I will say though, I do think Victoria can still win, which is pretty crazy. But I do see a path for Spicy V. This is giving Rachel Riley. That's all I'm saying. But Josie, how do you think? Who do you think is playing the best game?
I think again, also like to your point about the digital dailies, it's hard to like grab everything because you're not actually getting 24-hour access. Um, but I think Anthony's playing the best game. I don't see anyone targeting Anthony, and if they do target him, they don't have enough ammo to actually take the shot and succeed. Um, like Dennis, unfortunately, I like Tola has him, Matthew has him, Elijah has him. I think I don't know his relationship with Todd that much, but I've seen them talk a bit. The hot chocolate girls have him, and Bailey is at his mercy. It's crazy. Like the moment people turn on him, it's like a slap on the wrist, and then you're like, oh shit. Like no one has that, and he is able to mystify. Like I personally don't see it, but I'm not in person with Anthony. Like every time we talk to someone, they're like, when I talk to Anthony, I'm like in a trance. Season 7 said it, this season said it. So I think he's playing the best game. But Kayla is a close second because I think she's good with everyone. And Vivek was the only one who kind of had some opposition with her, but he is trying to mend fences with her, which is why she won't be nominated at all this week on his HOH, unless he's a liar. But I don't think so. I don't think he would want to take that shot, or else he's done for.
The only my main concern about Victoria, aside from some of the decision making, is I think if she makes it to jury, obviously, and she gets there and she's toward the end, I worry a little bit about her jury management. I don't think she is going to do. I liked her goodbye message to Donna, but I feel like some of the things she's doing in the house to maybe rub people the wrong way, and some of the moves she's making, and then coming back, and you said it earlier, Isaiah, was kind of like playing the victim, or Josie, maybe you said it, but like it. I don't know. I think at the end, it might take a little bit to vote for her over like a Kayla who maybe isn't going to be doing that, or an Anthony who obviously has everybody under their wing. If those two somehow end up making it to final two, I worry a little bit about her jury management.
Yeah, her people management is really horrendous.
Yeah.
And maybe she just doesn't care as of right now because they're not jury, which fair, totally understandable. Fair. But it's like she's the reason Janine went home, and the way she went about it was crazy. Then backdooring one of your best allies for you, who would have voted for you in jury, and then not owning up to the move and kind of playing a victim, and then pushing the blame on all of your allies, to me is very conflicting. Because for one, I personally think it was a dumb move. Say whether you agree or not, that's fine. But to me, it was a dumb move. And two, it's like you don't want to take ownership in that moment. In your final two speech, let's say you're saying, "Oh well, I took out Don." It's like you spent your entire time not taking ownership and saying how everyone had control over that decision, and it's really their influence that had it. So how am I supposed to believe you? What am I supposed to believe? Because then I could just say, "Oh, you're in final two, so you're just going to say whatever you want to get that." Like there is kind of no ownership behind the scales. And again, it's early phase, so maybe when jury phase comes in, she's going to take a little bit more ownership, take a little bit more accountability. But as it stands right now, I just feel like she's very reckless. And I think what's dangerous is that if she makes it to the end with the hot chocolate people, and then Lexus finds out all of the shit she's been doing from the beginning. I don't think Lexus I think Lexus has the potential of being a bitter jury, but with justified reason, because that whole beef, for lack of a better word, between Donna and Lexus is entirely Victoria's fault.
Yep.
Entirely Victoria's fault. Like that to me is insane. So if let's say Avery goes and then she's pissed off at Victoria or for some reason, and they get to talk, and this is what happened in the game, I wouldn't be surprised if people are bitter after Victoria. Like it wouldn't surprise me. Or her saying stuff like, "I wouldn't want a woman to go on my HOH when she's responsible for going."
Yeah, bro.
Shout out to Latoya, shout out to Austin, and shout out to Donna. Like, there's just things that she says where I just don't think she understands the magnitude. And again, maybe she's being reckless because it's the pre-jury phase and she don't care. But like, I hope she reels it in if she wants to win, because I don't think she's ever had to think about jury management. And I think if she doesn't get into the habit of doing so, she won't win even if she's final two.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I think that's just about it for everything. So That's our show. For anyone who enjoyed what you watch, what you listen to, and all that fun stuff, please check out all of our socials and everything. And like I said at the beginning, like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like what you listen to on audio platforms, please rate 5 stars. But 5 stars only if it's something that you don't like. Just don't worry about it. There's one thing I totally forgot. What is Tola doing on the dailies? Don't real quick. I don't need a long explanation. Is Tola really doing anything? Yes or no?
That's crazy that you said Usher. The only notable thing I can say is that Vivek is not Vivek, Jesus. Tola sometimes is in conversations and he gets game intel. So I don't think people really care for him necessarily. But one thing I did write in my notes about the digital dailies is that I thought it was that Tola was telling Victoria that she was safe. You're good, Victoria. Not you, Victoria. Who are you to Who are you? You're not even talking about you're good, Victoria. Don't worry. Who are you? Craziness. What the hell? Crazy.
Well, all right. If you want to see more Tola coverage, tune in next week on Friday, like usual, and we will be chatting up some Big Brother Canada. But real quick, so Josie, where can people find you, and what are you getting into?
Yes, you guys can follow me on all social media that matters at JosianeXNM, JosianeXNM. I am here doing bounce checks. We had our Donna interview come out. She was really fun. She's really cool. So give her some love by looking at the video and commenting. I seen that she's interacting now, so that's cool. I recently covered Love is Blind with Isaiah Javier. With another guest. It was really fun. Me and Isaiah bickered like we do.
What? You two?
Us two? No way.
Never.
So if you like people talking about Love is Blind, that was a good show. We talked about the second half of the season. So the finale, the reunion as well. But other than that, I'm really just here. But I tweet fun, interesting things about pop culture. I was just telling Katie how this summer is going to be my summer of Bravo. So if you're into the Bravo universe, follow me so that we can discuss, because I want to keep with the girls. So yeah, that's everything for me.
All right, how about you, Katie?
Yeah, you can find me here talking all things Big Brother Canada, especially now that I'm caught up. Sorry, I missed the last two. My work life has been kind of crazy, but I'm excited to be here with this crew again. Always have a great time talking this with you. And I'm back on Twitch. I've done 2 streams so far this week, which means I'm officially back. So you can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/realslimekatie with an underscore at the end. I'm playing the new Stardew Valley update, which has been really fun and reinvigorating for the game, given how much content has been added. And we'll be doing some other fun stuff next week on the stream. So check it out. Give me a follow. It's free if you want to support, and it's fun. We have a good time over there. And you can follow me on Twitter at realslimekatie.
All right, and like usual, you can find me at 8Ball Bangers while I'm very multitasking right now.
Yeah, we can see.
Big Brother, talking Big Brother, and all that fun stuff. Like usual, it's very fun. I love doing this every week with you guys. You guys are great. Love is Blind, as Josie said, is done, but Love is Blurry. You can go check out our little recap with that. That was a very fun time, and you never know what else you'll check out over here. So, until next time, have a good one. Bye.
Bye.